Hey there, greetings. I am Bernie Miklasz, and this is the Bernie Show on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Please do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's just one click, and you can also hit the like button, which is just another click, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Today's topic: Cardinals fans will support Chaim Bloom when he takes over for John Mozeliak as president of baseball operations. But next season, the Cardinals will be in year 2 of a rebuilding phase. So how long will fans stay with their support with Bloom? Or to put it another way, maybe in a crass way, how soon will the fans turn on Chaim Bloom? I know it's a kind of an undiplomatic way to phrase things, but this is the thing. We're not sure what we're getting into here in terms of expectations. I mean, the Cardinals, John Mozeliak has been running the baseball operation since the start of the 2008 season. So what I mean by we're getting into something we haven't been in a long, long time, a new baseball leader as the head of the front office. And it's also at a time the Cardinals were not rebuilding when Mozeliak took over in 2008. No, the Cardinals still had plenty of firepower, and they were still a team they viewed themselves as a contender, even though 2007 wasn't very good and 2008 would turn out to be not very good either, but they quickly got back on track. This is a whole different thing because the Cardinals are in a rebuild. And I said this is the second year of rebuild starting next year. It'll be year 2. It is. This was a rebuilding year, no matter what the Cardinals called it. It had all the telltale marks of a rebuild season. So year 2 will be 2026. And I believe Cardinals fans are going to be very generous in their support of Bloom at the beginning of his term in office for a simple reason. He isn't John Mozeliak. So he will benefit from the what has been an exhausting, long time condition that I refer to as the Mozeliak fatigue syndrome. And it's lowered the Cardinals' home attendance. That's one of the major reasons. Not the only reason, of course, because people are down on ownership as well. But anyway, the Cardinals' home attendance is ranked number 19 this year among the 30 teams in tickets sold per home game. That average of 28,828 tickets sold per home game at Busch Stadium would be the poorest for the Cardinals in a full season since 1984. That's when Ronald Reagan was still in his first term in the White House. Long time ago. Bloom didn't create the problems that brought the Cardinals down in the standings and also down in the attendance figures at Busch Stadium. He deserves none of the blame for what will be 3 consecutive seasons of the Cardinals failing to make the playoffs. And for those who, are willing to be objective, I think you would say, no one can convince me otherwise, that Bloom is off to a good start in his rebuilding of the Cardinals farm system and player development system. He's also changed the philosophy of how the Cardinals look for pitching in the draft, which was an overdue thing. The point being, Chaim Bloom hired a bunch of smart people, and they're doing a lot of good work down, getting the Cardinals back up to speed, back up to date in terms of the industry standards for developing players and having all the technology and the facilities and enough teaching and instructing and all of that good stuff where they had fallen behind. And he has hired a lot of smart people, and that's the number one thing. The Cardinals just desperately need to get a lot smarter, not just at the major league level, but also in the minor league level. In a lot of ways, the player development thing is the most important thing they can do, especially at a time like this. And I think that Bloom's and his people will, the stuff that they're doing now, the early days, the first year of this, of redoing the whole minor league operation and everything that goes with it, I think it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off in time. And that's the key word here, time. How much time will it take to build the Cardinals into a postseason contender again? And then from there, build them out to the level of becoming a team once again capable of winning a pennant and winning a World Series. I've been told, and I've passed this along to you, and I have good intel, Bloom will not be taking any shortcuts. The rebuilding process will be done properly, whether you want to call it slow and steady. I don't know what to call it, but it's not going to be a rush job. And straying from their plan to do a rush job will only delay or weaken the intended goal. That would not be smart. But I don't think that'll happen because I think Chaim Bloom will be smart and he will be disciplined. I think Cardinals fans, if they don't view Bloom in a positive light at the beginning, here's a few reasons why they should view him in a positive light at the beginning of his time in office. We're not quite there yet, but it could happen at any time once we get into September, the official handoff. Not saying it will happen. I'm saying it could happen. Number one, as I mentioned, Chaim Bloom is not John Mozeliak. So right away, there's some popularity points. Number two, Bloom is a match for the philosophy that made the Cardinals such a brilliant and successful team over a long period of time under their owner, Bill DeWitt Jr., specifically strong player development, an internal pipeline of talent, and then adding significant outside talent to supplement the homegrown talent. That's something that worked very, very well for the Cardinals especially after Bill DeWitt brought in Jeff Luhnow. And as I've said many times, hiring Bloom was very similar in scope and philosophy to the decision made by Bill DeWitt when he did recruit Jeff Luhnow from outside of baseball. And that worked out very, very well for the St. Louis Cardinals. In fact, it worked out so well that the stuff that Luhnow put into place actually carried over for several seasons after he left to become the general manager in Houston. In my opinion, there are other reasons why fans should welcome Bloom's hiring as the new man in charge of the baseball department, the new man in charge of just reviving Cardinals baseball at all levels. And I'm going to explain that in my second segment of today's Bernie Show. But first, it's DraftKings time. And if you haven't played the DraftKings Pick 6 Daily Fantasy game before, there's plenty of time for you to jump in for the final weeks of the 2025 baseball season. But it's not just baseball, it's all sports. College football is underway. The NFL is about to kick off the regular season. It's really a fabulous time of the year to be a sports fan, and it's a fantastic time to play DraftKings Pick 6. DraftKings Pick 6 makes it simple to get started. Just download that app. It's excellent. And then put your sports IQ to use and win that cash. That's my recommendation. Just download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings, and the selection process, you'll see it. It's laid out nicely. You'll have no problem getting acquainted with how it works. But I'll give you the basics. Each day, DraftKings sets a stat line for dozens. I'll keep it in baseball for now. For dozens of major league hitters or pitchers for their next game. So you pick either more or less, higher or lower, on the stat line for at least two of your favorite players, and you're in the ball game. Winning and success can be just a few clicks away, but you've got to get started. The Cardinals open a 4-game series against the Pirates on Monday, and I like Lars Nootbaar to get a hit. DraftKings Pick 6 has set a line of 0.5 hits for Newt. So if he gets any kind of hit, just even a single, even an infield hit, you're a winner if you chose more than 0.5 hits. I also like Michael McGreevy giving up more than 5.5 hits in his start tonight. Not because he's a bad pitcher, but it's because in 4 of his last 5 starts, he has gone above that, more than 5.5 hits allowed. So that's my thinking there. Listen, Pick 6 is available here in Missouri and so many other states. There's nothing to hold you back. Don't settle for smaller payouts at other places. No way. You deserve better. You got to switch to DraftKings Pick 6. You're going to be at the right place at the right time with the right people for winning that cash. Right now, new customers receive $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Just use the code STL Sports to make it happen. That's code STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right. Thank you for sticking with me here on today's Bernie Show. We're in the second segment now, and here's a reminder to you, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button. You can also leave your comments and blast away. It's okay, man. It's all good. Here are some other reasons why Chaim Bloom is such a good fit for the Cardinals as they begin the hard work of rebuilding a deflated team. It's not a total collapse team, but it's not good. All right. Need to rebuild. In the context of why the Cardinals and Bloom are a good match at this moment in time, let's review Bloom's background because it tells us everything. And that's why he became the coveted executive to take this one over here in St. Louis. Bloom was a key member of the intelligent Tampa Bay front office that greatly exceeded expectations by overcoming a built-in set of circumstances that put the A's, shouldn't say the A's were at a disadvantage too with some of their finances. But anyway, let me do that over. He was a key member of an intelligent Tampa Bay front office operation that greatly exceeded expectations by overcoming a set of circumstances that put the Rays at an extreme disadvantage every year, going into every year. Since the start of the 2004 season, the Rays have ranked in the bottom 3 of MLB in terms of annual payroll 18 times, and they've never at any point ranked higher than 24th out of 30 teams in a season. They're usually in the bottom 3. The Rays in terms of attendance, which is where, in addition to the television, of course, but, a lot of revenues generated by home attendance. The Rays ranked 13th, 14th, or last among American League teams in home attendance 15 times and never finished better than 11th in a season. And let's face it, the ballpark they played in during all that time, the one that's under repair now after the devastating hurricane that basically forced the Rays to go to, Steinbrenner Field there in Tampa, which is the Yankees minor league home. Everything has been at a disadvantage for them. They had nothing going in their favor as far as what you start out with every season. The Rays and the Oakland franchise were at the bottom of the American League in annual average revenue. It was usually one or the other. They sort of traded back and forth. So all 3 of those factors worked heavily against the Rays being a consistently successful baseball team. But from 2008, listen to this, from 2008 through 2024, the Rays made the playoffs 9 times, the only teams in the majors to make the postseason more than Tampa Bay over those 17 seasons, only teams to do it more than 9 times since 2008, 9 times since 2008. The only to do it more times, Yankees, Braves, Dodgers, Cardinals. That's it. What do the Yankees have? Ton of money, largest media market. Braves, ton of money, huge southern-based media market, big territorial advantage. Dodgers, all the money that anybody could ever hope for, right? And also Southern California, the LA area, huge. And the Cardinals, Midwestern miracle in a way, because the Cardinals have drawn so consistently well, and they've been able to stay near the top of the industry standards for a long time until recently. But they're the only teams that make the postseason more often than Tampa Bay over the previous 17 years were the Yankees, Braves, Dodgers, and Cardinals. The little Rays, who had no money, they had a lousy stadium, and they were near the very bottom of just about anything that had to do with your financial wherewithal, right? And despite that, how could the Rays be? They are in the American League East, right? And how in the world could they be second only to the Yankees in that division as far as making the playoffs? That is ridiculously impressive. Now, the other thing too, if you want to look at it by extension, over the previous 17 seasons, the Rays made the postseason more times than the high revenue, high payroll, high revenue, high attendance, high franchises like the Red Sox, Blue Jays, Mets, Cubs, Phillies, and Angels, and there are more. And I find it remarkable that tiny Tampa Bay made the playoffs more times than any American League team than the Yankees over the previous 17 years. That's just nuts. The Rays haven't won a World Series, and I always laugh at the people who point that out as if they're playing I gotcha, Bernie. Where's that World Series trophy? You don't bring that up, do you, Bernie? I gotcha. Yeah, as if like it's been a fair fight for the Rays, like they're on equal footing with all these other teams. They're actually, as far as baseball goes, the Rays are basically, I'm not going to say poverty, but I'm talking about relative to the baseball economy. They're on the poor side of the street. They're really on the poor side of the street. Just getting to the postseason, as many as Tampa Bay has done, is a remarkable achievement. Since 2008, here we go. The Rays have won 2 pennants and played in 2 World Series. Over that time, Tampa Bay has been in the same number of World Series as the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Cardinals. And they've gotten to the World Series more times over that time than the Mets, the Cubs, the Braves, and the Blue Jays. Yeah, a few teams have been there more often. I would hope the Dodgers would be, right? And I think about the massive payroll advantages of all these other teams that have had just in an overwhelming way over Tampa Bay. That's what makes their consistent success really, really impressive. And Chaim Bloom was one of the most important brains in that operation for the longest time. I'll say it again. I'd rather have a shrewd front office that spends money very wisely instead of a stupid front office that spends a lot of more money but does so foolishly, in part because they think that's what the fans want. You got to have better discipline than that. Now we go to Boston, where Bloom got a bad rap. And it's so funny, when the Cardinals hired him, I'd battle with people on my old YouTube channel. Oh, it's a terrible hire. What has he ever won? Blah, 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 blah. He traded Mookie Betts. Blah, 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 blah. Bloom was Boston's chief baseball officer from 2000 through 2023, and he was given 2 primary assignments when he took the job with the owner, John Henry. Number 1, fix a broken draft and development system. That's your top priority. You got to fix it. We have to do this. We're terrible at it. And number 2, they wanted him to reduce payroll. When Bloom arrived in Boston, the Red Sox were a bottom 3. They were in the bottom 3 of the farm system rankings, and they were over the luxury tax threshold for the longest time. Well, if you look at them now, the Red Sox have one of the best farm systems in the majors, and Bloom was the guy who made that happen. This year's successful Red Sox team is one of the surprise teams, really. Has several high-profile Bloom draft choices in place, and those people like that have helped the Red Sox go 39-24 since June the 10th. And prospects drafted by Chaim Bloom were also traded to the White Sox for their ace starting pitcher, Garrett Crochet, that's what I think is his name. I'm always bad about that. Garrett Crochet. And he basically if you go by wins above replacements, 3rd best starting pitcher in the majors this year. The other thing he did was the 4 years he was there, Bloom got the Red Sox under the luxury tax threshold in 3 of the 4 seasons. And so just to clear something up yet another time, you'd think people would know this by now, but this is the world we live in. Bloom traded Mookie Betts because he was ordered to trade Mookie Betts by the team owner, who got mad after Betts rejected a contract extension. And not only that, people say, well, he didn't get enough for him, Bernie. Well, yeah, he did not get enough for him. I think maybe the fact that the owner said, you got to get whoever trades for Betts, they got to take on whatever's left of David Price's contract, which was a lot of money. So that's why the value of Betts in the trade was so low. It wasn't just trading him. That's the easy part. But then you got to take basically David Price's guaranteed dead money. Yeah, you're not going to get as much in return. But we don't have to use our brains to think about that, do we? I do. You don't have to, or some of you don't. Many of you do. And thank you. The Cardinals need the type of leadership that Bloom brings as a leader of the baseball operation. There's absolutely no question about that. The Cardinals are going to find a payroll level that I think will be very similar to where they were earlier in Bill DeWitt's term as owner. Somewhere between 4th, 12th, 13th, right in that area. Every now and then, maybe get into 11th. They're going to be in that area, but I think the baseball market has changed in St. Louis, and that includes television and a lot of different other things. So I'm not expecting the Cardinals to be a top 10 payroll, even after they get through this rebuild and they start adding pieces to top it all off. I don't think they'll be a top 10 team in payroll, but they don't have to be. They just simply do not have to be. If you spend your money wisely and you can evaluate talent and find great value for the dollar and also draft better than most teams, develop players than most teams, you're going to be in really, really good shape. And so there's no question in my mind he's a great fit because, number one, his background in successful drafting and developing and also international signings. And number two, smart handling of the payroll. Nobody's perfect in that regard. Mistakes always get made. But in Tampa Bay, they were the model for payroll efficiency, which is not a dirty term. It's actually a really smart term. It's a good term. You want to have an efficient payroll. And then, because among other things, that gives you more money to spend when it's time to add a finishing piece or two that'll get you over the top. It's the right time and the necessary approach for those two strengths. And I'm looking forward to see what Chaim Bloom will do. I think he'll reinvigorate the organization in so many ways. Why wouldn't why wouldn't Cardinals fans embrace Bloom? I got a couple of things and thoughts on that. When I return for my third segment, I'll talk about it. But first, some encouraging words about Blue Chew. Gentlemen, Blue Chew can help you raise your game for those intimate and exciting times with your partner. You can even add more excitement and pleasure with an assist from Big Blue, right? No need to hesitate or feel awkward. Just chew it and do it, period. Increase your horsepower, increase your manpower, increase your quality of life. Blue Chew is there for you to make that all possible. Instead of stalling out, why not rev up the engine and increase your pleasure for the both of you? Be a nice, happier time, right? Fellas, if you need a more powerful bat, Blue Chew's in the equipment room, so go get it. You can hit home runs in the bedroom or any damn room in the house, right? This applies to men of all ages, including dudes like me who are over 60 years old. Blue Chew's the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhancing performance. You will get your first month of Blue Chew free. You're just a few clicks away. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're improved, you'll receive your prescription at your doorstep in a matter of days. It's all done online, simple, and private. You can try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use your promo code Bernie. That's pay $5 shipping. That's all you got to do. That's promo code Bernie to get your first month free, and only will cost you just $5 for shipping. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Bernie Show. I thank them for giving me the opportunity to encourage my fellow man to go out there and get some help and live life to the fullest. All right, here we go. Segment number 3. I want to thank you for sticking around. As always, we're back for that third segment of the Bernie Show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button. You can hit me with comments. I love it. Thank you. There are multiple reasons why Bloom would in fact lose popularity points. First, he was hired by Bill DeWitt Jr., and Bill DeWitt Jr. isn't a popular man in St. Louis these days, despite having one of the most successful franchises in the majors over his 30 years as owner, if you look at the entire body of work. So the way it is, there's so much rancor out there. If DeWitt hired Bloom, then that makes it at best, to some people, that makes Bloom a suspicious hire. With other people, he's just a flat out bad hire. Some people will say, because I've heard it from them, I don't think it's many, but I've heard it. Some people will say Bloom is DeWitt's puppet, which is totally nuts. I hate to be the dude to break this big scoop to y'all, but every head of baseball operations, whether he has a general manager title, chief baseball officer title, president of baseball operations title, they all work for the team's owner. They're not in charge. They don't give the owners the order. The owner gives them the orders about what can be done or what can't be done. And I think 98% of y'all know that. But I every time I assume that, I'm kind of knocked off my spot. I like to assume the best in people, but there's so many times where I feel silly for doing that. But I read all the comments. I think we got a really smart group here following the Bernie Show on our YouTube channel. So thank you. It's a weird time out there with a lot of fans more concerned about payroll size than baseball IQ. I don't understand that, but listen, the customers get to choose how they're going to spend their own money. Not up for me to say. And if the farm system is flowing with talent, then that's going to leave more space, as I mentioned earlier, for more expensive additions via trades or free agency. The Cardinals are rebuilding for obvious reasons. It's overdue, and it makes sense. There's nothing complicated about it. Got to get out of the middle. Bill DeWitt's not going to start spending $250 million like right away. And, in other words, the way to do it is you got to rebuild this thing methodically. It takes time. You got to put that foundation together. Then you can go out and spend. When maybe you're 2 or 3 things away from being the team you really want to be, then you'll have the foundation to build on that and do that. But rebuilding takes time, and that's where Bloom could lose popularity. When he formally takes over for Mozeliak, Bloom will have to explain his vision and hopefully give the fans a timetable for what to expect. And I hope that he's honest about all of this, including the vision, and letting people know exactly what he's going to do and how he plans to do it, instead of trying to mislead people because, oh, I don't want to get anybody mad at me. I don't think he's like that. I think he'll be straight up with it. Will the Cardinals be able to contend by, say, 2028? I picked 2028 for a couple of reasons, because I think, first of all, it's going to take a couple years before you start to see some of the things down on the farm blossom. But you also have this labor situation going into 2027. Who knows how much baseball there will even be in 2027? And there's no minor leagues going on if there's a baseball shutdown. So that's part of makes the timetable fuzzy. But can the Cardinals get to that point where they're ready to contend? Not go all the way, but just get back into the tournament, say 2028, or will it take longer than that? I don't have an answer. I'm just putting it out there. Cardinals fans of a certain age haven't had to go through a rebuild. Ironically, the last rebuild to take place happened when Bill DeWitt purchased the Cardinals before the 1996 season. And after adding a lot of players before the 1996 season, I should say, Bill DeWitt and Walt Jocketty and Tony La Russa went out, brought in a whole new wave of talent just for that 96 season so they could win right away and get the fans back. I don't think they'll take that approach now because it's a different time and place in Major League history. But after adding all those players before the 96 season, the Cardinals they won the division title and got all the way to Game 7 of the NLCS. But that was followed by 3 disappointing seasons that included 2 losing seasons. And that's when DeWitt started to realize you can't go out every year and buy or even trade for the players you need. You got to have a more sustainable model. And he wanted to change the model. He kind of saw where things were headed, unless you did put in a model that had that put a premium on the draft and player development and make that a more substantial priority. And so when he realized that's what he wanted, and I've talked to him for hours about this, that led to Jeff Luhnow's hiring in the early aughts. And from 2000 through 2022, the Cardinals ranked 3rd to the Yankees and the Dodgers in regular season winning percentage. They made the postseason 16 times. They played in more postseason games than any National League team, and they won more postseason games than any National League team. They won 4 National League pennants. They won 2 World Series title. And I know it's shocking, isn't it? Because if you listen to some people talk about Bill DeWitt now, you think he never won a damn thing. The Cardinals were a great team for a long time, but DeWitt, Mozeliak let the thing decline, and that's their fault. It should have never happened to the extent that it did. So, listen, I mentioned earlier, I don't know what fans expect in terms of how long this rebuild will take, because I don't know the answer to that myself. But I would venture to say that patience will run out at some point. This baseball market, as I noted, has changed dramatically. And because of the mistakes the Cardinals have made, they can't assume anything in terms of 3 million plus fans at home every season. It's up to them to change that if possible, because the damage is pretty extreme and it won't be a quick repair. If we're looking at a 5-year or 6-year rebuilding plan, I don't think that will go over very well. I could be wrong about that, but my gut feeling is that would not play very well. Even if the Cardinals rebound, will the fans return in big numbers? People are finding other things to do. People are finding that they don't really miss going down to Busch Stadium all that much. They don't mind if they're cutting back, going to half the games they used to. It's no big deal. They still go to games. They're just not spending as much money, and they're finding other things to do with their money. A lot of damage has been done, though, and that's the point. And Chaim Bloom's in charge of basically cleaning it up. And though the Cardinals obviously need to rebuild, it's going to be dismissed. As you know, we live in a cynical age. I'm a cynic myself. It's going to be dismissed as a DeWitt ploy to go cheap and not spend money. That's the only reason he's doing this, some will say. Well, I disagree with that. Once again, every fan can make their own decision about DeWitt's motivations. On the other hand, fans are so disappointed and down and disgusted Any success by Bloom ahead of schedule would make him a very popular man, I think. I will add this. We got to keep adding things. I expect Bloom to be active this offseason because the Cardinals have to alleviate these positional log jams, and they got to reduce the supply of left-handed hitters. Trades are going to have to be made. And isn't that fun? I mean, even if he makes 3 or 4 trades, and even if, all of us thinking about these trades, we disagree on some of them, maybe it's a 50-50 split, whether it's a good trade or not, whether that was a good trade or not, that was a bad trade, good trade, whatever. At least Bloom will be making moves and shaking things up and changing the way things look, and it'll give us something fresh and new to talk about. Unlike last offseason, which was the dullest in the history of creation for Major League Baseball. I'm exaggerating, but I'm doing it for effect. Anyway, the best way to win fans over isn't by spending money to con them into thinking we're committed. No one's going to fall for that anymore. The commitment isn't that. The commitment is doing this right and setting up the baseball team for sustained success, but that's going to take a while. And just like the Tom Petty song says, waiting is the hardest part. And yes, I spared you of me trying to sing that. But waiting is the hardest part, and we don't know how long this will take. But I think in the end, it'll be worth it. That's all for today. I thank you for watching. And once again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel here on STL Sports Central for extensive coverage of all the local teams you care about, including Illinois is going to join the ranks of STL Sports Central coming up this football season, which is basically now. So all the local teams, man, everybody you care about, it's all here on STL Sports Central. Live streams after every game played by one of the teams in our area, including Mizzou and Illinois. I'm going to be back tomorrow with another Bernie Show video presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Thank you.